Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Aikal Iskandar bin Muhammad Firdaus. My ID is AM2412018 and 257. So right now I'll be presenting, or I'll be talking about my title, which is the effect of violence video games towards young children. So this day and age, video games have become a key form of entertainment for children. While many games are harmless or even educational, violence games raise serious concerns. As these games become more immersive and realistic, researchers and educators are questioning their influence on young minds, especially how they might normalize violence and encourage aggressive behavior. So these video games are actually encouraging more aggressive thoughts and aggressive behavior towards these young childrens. um, so these researchers are trying to find the root cause of the problem. So I'll begin with how violent video games shape the way children think and behave. A study by Gentile et 2014 from Iowa State University found that children who frequently play video games tend to develop aggressive thought patterns. These thoughts patterns don't just disappear; they stick with the children that and continue into their adulthood. So children that plays video games such as Grand Theft Auto, or like games that kills people, that have murdering teeth, so they tends to have aggressive thought patterns. So they used to having this criminal mindset that they do in game, and they bring it into their real life adulthood, I mean real life childhood, and tend to bring it into their adulthood as well. So other than that, similarly, Pratt et al. 2014 follow over 3,000 kids for 3 years. The results showed that the more children were exposed to the violent games, the more likely they were to think aggressively. So the research found that 3,000 kids for 3 years, the more they are exposed to the video games, the more they are aggressive towards their habits, towards their daily life, no matter their age, gender, or culture. So it means that it affects every group age, and they have very bad impact. So why does this happen? Because violent video games reward aggression, as Anderson and Gentle 2014 explain. Children practice aggressive behavior in game, and over time these habits translate into the real world. So as I said, they use it in game and then tend to have it into their real life. So they are used to having the bad behavior, and then they are tend to do it in real life also. So if violence helps them win in the game, they may start to believe it works in real life too. This shows violent video games aren't just entertainment. They shape children respond to conflict and frustration in everyday life. So it means that these video games actually rewards these young children playing. Let's say that they play games and they are on a mission to steal a car. So that's tend to make them believe that those kind of behavior make them gain reward, because they gain reward in the game. So it makes them believe that those behavior are actually good, or actually may reward them. So point 2, usage patterns and emotional impact. The second point focus on how often children play violent games and why they play them. A study by Cheryl Olson et al. 27 looked at over 1,207 and 8th grade. They found that nearly half of them regularly played violent M-rated games, especially boys, with 68% admitting to it. So by the studies shows that 1,207 and 8th grade, which is very young age, already playing M-rated games, which is games that are actually rated for higher age group. So this kind of age group playing M-rated games is actually not good, because they are more often to get attracted to doing bad stuff by the M-rated games. Many kids play alone in their bedroom or with strangers online. Some use violent games to manage anger or escape stress, like problems at home or school. So these kids may be playing these games for just having fun, or they are just trying to escape their stress, or they are trying to just forget about their problems. So this is concerning because if violent content become part of their emotional coping, and they may start using aggression as a way to handle real life problem. So this is a very bad situation, as it because it may cause the young children to use aggression as their coping mechanism to cope with their problems. So it means that they will not find a positive way to actually cope with their problem or solve their own problem, as they use things that is from bad behavior or the bad aggressiveness they gain from the video games and use it in real life. So instead of talking things out or staying calm, they might react with anger, just like they do in the game. This highlight the emotional risk of using violent game as stress relief tool, especially without guidance. So as I said, they'll just release all their stress with just anger, and like they do in game. So they highlight the emotional risk of using violent game as a stress release tool. So they cope their stress with just playing game, and then by doing violent behavior. So point 3, peer influence and indirect effects. What's even more surprising is that even kids who don't play violent games can still be affected. So Mayer 2019 found that children surrounded by friends who played violent video games often show higher level of aggression, even if they don't play the games themselves. So this happens because kids learn behavior from each other. So this happened because these kids actually learn their behavior from their friends, because they are very easily attracted to what their friends are doing, because kids are is a fast learning human being. So they learn from someone that they're close to, like their friends. So as that make them learn those bad behavior as their friend play the violent video games, so they learn it from them. This means that violent video game can influence an entire peer group, spreading aggressive behavior like a chain reaction. So even if parents limit their child's screen time, the child might be still influenced by who they spend time with. So as I said, if they have friends that is actually playing violent video games, so they are learning it from them. So they might have to actually find friends that is not playing those games and not actually impacting them towards those bad stuff. So these kids actually have to avoid and find friends that is actually not gonna affect them and not gonna convince them to do all this stuff. So the conclusion is, to sum up, violent video games have a much deeper impact than we might actually think. They influence how children think, how they feel, and how they behave towards others. Long-term exposure leads to aggressive thinking, emotional desensitiveness, and difficulties in social situation. So my recommendation, so what we can do about it is parental monitoring. According to Gentle et al. 2014, parents can set limit and monitor game content and can reduce negative effects. Other than that, media literacy in school, Dill and Anderson 2000, remember teaching children to understand this difference between virtual and real world violence. And lastly, better game design. Oswald and Mayer 2010 suggest that games with positive pro-social themes can help children develop empathy and teamwork skill. So my final closing is, in conclusion, tackling this issue isn't just about banning games. It's about education, awareness, and better choice from parents, teachers, and developers. So I'll explain more about the conclusion. So as we can see, the games actually doesn't affect fully on the young children. So it means that the game does affect, but also the friends and also the parents need to do something, and they have to play their role to make sure that these kids are not affected by this behavior. So I would like to encourage these parents or these friends to not actually encourage them to do this kind of stuff, and they are very easily attracted to doing this stuff. So we have to actually be careful, and we have to be mindful of what we're gonna encourage people to do. So lastly, parents should always monitor their children and always take one step further on how to tackle with these problems. So that is all from me. Thank you very much.